Good evening. Welcome to the story of the Burgher and the Pauper. Yesterday was Tisha B'Av. We're already marching into the second part of the Hashem of Chodesh Av. Officially, it starts on B'eAv. When the Chesed starts, let's talk a little bit about this when we get into the story. So, here we go. So, as we have said, the princess met with all these suitors. She said, but the war is not pass over you. No one understood what she meant by that. To some, she showed her face. Others fell to the ground upon seeing her. Others became sick. Others went insane, love sickness. But nevertheless, although people were mad, they kept on coming. In the end, she gave them all the same answer. So meanwhile, the Burgher's son remained there in the same place. And he made himself a place to live. He dwelled there. He was also able to play music. He was skilled in the art of lyrics. And he selected wood out of which musical instruments could be made. He made himself instruments out of the veins of animals. He made strings. Thus, he was able to play to himself, and he would take the note, which had the emperor's daughter sent to him while he was in prison, and he would sing and play his instruments, and you remember all that happened with him, how his father had been a burgher, and how he had been cast away, and he took the note and made a mark on a tree. And there inside the tree, he hollowed out a place and hid the note. After he had been there for a while, one day there was a great storm wind that blew down all the trees of that place. He could not recognize the tree where he had hidden the note. As long as the trees were standing, he could recognize the sign. But now that the trees had fallen, this tree was mixed up among many other trees there. He had no way of recognizing that particular tree. It was impossible for him to split them all to find out the note. Since there were so many trees, this caused him to weep and to grieve very much, and realize that if he stayed there, he would definitely go mad because he had such great anguish. He decided he must move on no matter what will happen with him. Leave he must. But if he did not, he would be in danger because of his deep anguish. So he put some meat and fruit in the sack and went in no specific direction. Made himself a sign marking the place which he left. He continued to reach a settlement. This obviously is, very apropos right now, a day after Tisha B'Av. I'm sorry. Hillel, you say that you can't hear? Okay, just 1 second. All right. So as we said, there is a presentation of the first Beis Hamikdash, which was destroyed And this signifies the first time that the Burgher was cast away from where his father was by the Pauper, who became an emperor, because in the first Beis Hamikdash there was a bit that Shlomo built, and Am Yisrael still would not do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them to do, and they were cast away in Babel. And the mahalach of the Burgher in where he was is parallel to Am Yisrael being in Babel after the destruction of the first temple, where they had the Knesset Gdoila, they still had prophets, they still had Nevi'im. It was the end of the era of the Nevi'im, but they still had Nevi'im until they came, to the era of Ezra Sefer, came back, built the second Beis Hamikdash. All these descriptions of whatever it is that the Burgher was doing, the young man was doing, depicts, a settlement of Yishuv Adas, of presence of mind, that wherever he was, no matter which matzav he was in, he was cast away, he got lost, he was chased away. Nevertheless, he was able to regain his footing, as it were. And all the things that the Rebbe describes, he describes Avodas Hashem. The Rebbe said there's good fish, there were good fish there, meaning that's Shmiras Sabris, the fish are akin to tzaddikim. They say that the neshamas of tzaddikim, if they need to be incarnated, they need a tikkun, they have misgalgal in the fish that's eating on Shabbos. And the fact that he was able to sing, this is, the sermon in Nagina, the 10 type of Nagina, which represent, the Shevach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to such an extent that we are not even able to sing and praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu today. With such a Shevach, it is hidden in the Psalms. And the 10 kinds of songs, the 10 kinds of songs, they represent the Shvachim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which are beyond the world of today. And life is good. Life was good. He was lacking nothing. Said, what do you have to go back, be in danger, escape with his life? Here he's sitting home, Smedrish, waking up Chatzos, davening, doing Yechudim, learning Torah. What more do you need? And then he took the letter that he got from the daughter of the emperor, represents the what they call the Sechel Elyon. You know that every problem is always solved with a Sechel. The reason for lack of problems, for lack of order, of peace, Golos, represents a lack of das, of sense, of understanding. It's an example that I give every time. People find themselves in minuses in the bank. People that make nice living, they find themselves in humongous minuses in the bank. And suddenly they find that they have to start borrowing and paying literally hundreds of thousands of shekels, sometimes millions of shekels every month. And they don't understand what's going on. They're making plenty of money, but somehow nothing stimms, nothing fits. And so what is the answer? What is the solution for this? Solution is an aseichel. They go to somebody who's an expert in these things, who understands what are the pitfalls of household finances, what are the typical problems we run into. And what he does, the first thing he does, he comes and he tells these people, why don't you, just don't change anything. Continue, for the next months, doing exactly what you've been doing until now. But only do one thing: collect every single receipt for every single expenditure that you spend this month. I don't care if it's bubble gum or a car or whatever. Just keep on living life as usual. Only collect the receipts and come to me in a month. So they come to him in a month with all the receipts. And then they go ahead. He takes the receipts and he breaks them down. These are receipts for food, these are receipts for utilities, this is for rent, this is for this is for clothing, this is for this is for that, and so on and so on. And he builds a whole list and he adds it up. He says, what is your income? So the husband is making this much, and the mother is doing this much, and whatever it is. And suddenly they take a look and they see that though, let's say they make 30 or 40,000 shekels a month, but they spend 50. It's just their lifestyle. It's not that they're going wild, just, they're living like somebody who's making 30, 40,000 shekels a month, which is a lot of money. So, we'll go on vacation to New York, we'll come back. Oh, it's a big deal, it's $1,000, $2,000. It's not a big deal, it's like, we're going every day, we'll buy this or we'll buy that, and we're going to eat out, and we're going to this, we're going to buy this, we're going to buy that clothing, whatever. And without noticing, every single month, they're spending about 10,000 shekels more than they're making. In a year, they're over 120,000 shekel in debt. By the time they catch themselves, they might be 500,000 or 1,000,000 shekels in debt. They don't even know why. The difference between spending 40,000 shekels a month and 50,000 shekels a month is very slim. I mean, you can't even tell. But once they come to this person who has this seichel, to put it all together and break it all down, now they start taking a look at it, and it says, okay, how much money can we, what are the things that we absolutely must have? Where can we cut? And then he says, listen, Yati, okay, even if you cut to 40, he still doesn't answer your question because you'll be spending what you have. And there are certain times a year where there are more expenses, Tovim, whatever. And sometimes there are, emergency expenses that come. We're going about that. And then, of course, you have to pay back your debts, whatever it is. B'kitzer, their problem was because there was no seichel, there was no sense, which came out of lack of awareness. You know what they were doing. Sometimes, even though they realize that they're spending more than they have, they don't understand what else can they do. I live normally. It takes somebody with a sense that is higher than that. They understand how to put things in place to be able to restore them to normalcy. The tikkun is always in the seichel. A problem comes because of inconsistencies, and the rectification, the tikkun, comes when you find what is the governing seichel, intelligence, that governs this situation, recognize what the problems are, remove the inconsistencies, and everything becomes peaceful again. This is begashmis, and this is also beruchnis. The reason why a person finds himself in trouble in ruchnius is because he doesn't realize, how did I get here? And how do I get out of here? I mean, I basically plus minus doing everything all right. More or less, What can I do? What should I do? The answer lies in a higher seichel. The same thing with this financial advisor that advises them for, what is the reason for the quagmire, the financial quagmire that the people find themselves, and how to solve it. The answer is in the seichel, in the intelligence. The same thing is beruchnis. Spiritually, this answer is always from the seichel that is above. There's something that is inconsistent in a person's life. Something doesn't stem. Something just doesn't work. You can go around your tail, chasing your tail and still not find the answer. The answer is in a higher seichel than the one that you have. Rabbeinu says that there is a seichel, a wisdom, It's called Seichel HaKoilel, the all-encompassing Seichel. That Seichel answers all the particular problems of all the details. You know how they say, there's a very famous saying, adage, that a wise person, the difference between a wise person and a smart person, they said a smart person is somebody who can get out of trouble that a wise person wouldn't get into to begin with. In other words, being wise is sechel HaKoilel. It prevents you from getting into problems to begin with. But even if you do get into trouble, he's able to find out what are the reasons, what are the inconsistencies, what is the discrepancy, where is the dissonance, what throws the whole situation out of whack, and what kind of shifts need to be done to find the tikkun. This is the letter of the princess, the daughter of the emperor. That's the ksav, the sechel HaKoilel. And it puts it in a tree that represents the tikkun of making it so that every person is able to have access to this seichel. There's only one problem. That is that he is the intended husband of the Shekhinah. For him to sit in Beis Medrash and learn all day by himself doesn't solve the problem. Am Yisrael sitting in Eretz Yisrael in and of themselves does not solve the problem. The untold story of the destruction of Tisha B'Av, of the second Beis Hamikdash, was that the Romans did not get into Eretz Yisrael. To begin with, they stayed out of Eretz Yisrael. They conquered all the lands around it, and they left Eretz Yisrael alone. Didn't touch it. There were two brothers, Aristobulus, and I forgot the name of the other one. You know, each one wanted to be king. So one of them became king. So the second one called the Romans in. You know, like the Peace Now movement, calling the Goyim in, snitching there, you know, before the Goyim. People don't realize there was a big congregation in Mitzrayim, in Alexandria. Huge. Moshe Rabbeinu said, don't go back there. Don't go back to Mitzrayim, but they did. Huge, unbelievably successful and flourishing congregation there. Rich people. In fact, one of the children of those rich families went off the derech, as it were. Well, Aristobulus and whatever it is, once they called the Romans in to help him out to become king, the Romans came in. The Romans, wherever they came in, that's it. They're not going to go out again. That man that went off the derech joined the Roman army. In fact, he was the chief of staff of Titus. He is the one that actually set fire to Beis Hamikdash. As the prophet said, those who destroy you, that come out of you. The reason for all this is because there are sparks of holiness, of Shekhinah, all over the world. They need to be picked up. You know, our destiny is very much like that Waze software that allows cars to go from place to place. The world will get to his destiny this way or that way. Nicely or less nicely. There's a job that needs to be done. What we find is when the tree, which represents Beis Hamikdash, it enables everybody to get in touch with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, is destroyed. The pain that he feels is so great that he has to leave his place. This comes to, brings us to understanding a little bit about this pain of the destruction of Tisha B'Av that we're just gone through. When we read the lamentations, the kinois, Eichel, we look at these words and we can hardly even understand what they mean, what these words mean, let alone feel. In a way, our pain is much greater than those generations that wrote those kinos, those lamentations. At least they could express their lament in wholly precise wording. We don't even understand what they're saying. We just find ourselves in utter confusion. We have lost contact with that sechel hakolim, this overriding wisdom with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And we don't even know, are we the good guys? Or are we the bad guys? Am I good? Am I bad? What am I? Well, I realize that I'm probably a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I still I have no idea what my deal is. What we lost in Beis Hamikdash was that tminus, that innocent love. We see our mother, Shekhinah, at night, going around in the streets of Yerushalayim. She's going to the place of Beis Hamikdash, in the Kodesh HaKodeshim. The place of the purest, most innocent love. And by the Goyim, we are such a derision. They despise us like a piece of dirt. They take this tminus, this totally pure and clean love that we have, we have, and make a mockery out of it. It's a joke. We take that which is the most hidden, the most intimate, the most private, the most clean, pure, and innocent, and make it a spectacle. And we don't know, where are we? Where are we? What are we? The only thing that we have to hold on is that pain, that lack. There's a famous mashal that in Lubavitch they give about a father and son that ran away. There's a war, or whatever it is, and they had to eat, weeds in the field. And the son cried that his stomach hurts. And a few days later, he ate and says, his father, oh Hashem, my stomach, I eat weeds in my stomach, then it does not hurt me anymore. And so the father says, woe to us. You got used to eating weeds, to living away from food of men. Now we're okay with food of animals. That is the broch, that is the breaking. When we give up that confusion, I'm sorry, and that pain, we are giving up the possibility of rectification, of tikkun. Everything is okay. If pain broke, don't fix it, right? But every single Tisha B'Av, we're sort of like wondering, how do I get in touch with it? How do I get to feel it? How do I get to, that is our pain. That craving, that we know there's something we're not getting. We know there's a pain, a point of pain we're not able to touch. This is our limitation. But in a sense, we're the lucky ones. The real broken one is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Because by Kodesh Baruch Hu, the past, and the present, and the future are all one. Kodesh Baruch Hu is the only one who knows what was lost. The Shekhinah is the only one who knows what was lost. This is the big Rachmanis. We just know that something was lost, but we have no idea what it is. For the Shekhinah, the Beis HaMikdash is still there. For Kodesh Baruch Hu, this man is still there. That intimacy, that innocent, pure love is still there, and it's gone. And it's like a pit in the stomach that nothing ever fills. The only thing that we have is just knowing that we don't have it, and we want to have it. So we know that we have to move. We know that we have to do. We know that we have to seek. B'ezrat Hashem Yisborach will build Beis HaMikdash for us, Mashiach Tzidkenu, very soon in our days. B'ezrat Hashem, the Neder will continue next Monday. And on Wednesday, we'll learn the Likutei Moharan. Okay.